Now, before we look at how we can display colors, I should mention web safe colors, because you will have heard of them probably if you've done any digging around with HTML or CSS. Now, essentially, web safe colors are a set of 216 colors that have been deemed safe to use on a website. And by safe, it means that they display the same on all systems. So these 216 colors will look the same on a PC as on a Mac. Now, if you're a purist and you really want to make your web design stick and stay exactly the same on all different systems, then you probably should look at web colors that are safe. Most professional graphics programs like Photoshop and PaintShop Pro and many others have web safe palettes built into it, so you shouldn't have any problem there. But if you want to find more about web safe colors, you can always do a Google search, and there are a lot of sites out there that can help you. For example, this one, colorcodehex.com, gives you a lot of information about colors and allows you to choose colors and even web safe colors. The name color code hex, the hex is a reference to one of the naming systems we use for colors, which we'll have a look at in a moment. But if you scroll to the bottom, you can see there's a web safe colors section here, and this shows you a palette of all the web safe colors, and it gives you these values for the colors. And if you click on one of these, we're taken to a page with more information. So let's just click on this red, FF0000. And you can see here, we've got different naming conventions, or different ways we can express the color. The first one is hexadecimal, and that's FF0000. And essentially what we've got here is we've got pairs of hexadecimal digits. We've got FF, then 00, then 00. And if you look down below the hexadecimal, we've got RGB decimal, where we've got 3 numbers. So the FF refers to the first number. The first 00 represents the second number in the RGB decimal, and the third pair of numbers represents the final number in the RGB decimal. Now, you might also find this red represented as just a 3-digit hexadecimal, and that would be F00. Now, you don't have to remember any of these digits, any of these hexadecimal characters or anything else, because there's plenty of help online to find them, and I'll show you a free tool in a moment that will get you the hexadecimal color of any color that you can see on your screen. But essentially, with CSS, the 3 ways that we normally would represent this color red is we might call it red, or we might say hexadecimal FF0000, or we could say the RGB value and say 255,0,0. The 255 represents the amount of red in the color, the first 0 represents the amount of green, and the last 0 represents the amount of blue. So in this particular color, we've got 255 of red, 0 of green, 0 of blue. Now, it just so happens that these numbers go from 0 to 255. So 255 is the maximum. So this color is red because it's got a maximum amount of red, 0 blue, 0 green. And you mix those together, we end up with red. So to summarize how we might express red in CSS, we could call it red. We could call it hexadecimal FF0000. Or alternatively, we could use the shortened form of F00. You'll also notice there's a hashtag in front of the letter F. Now, hexadecimal numbers in CSS need to have that hashtag in front, although some of the charts you'll find don't actually have that. You just need to remember to put it in. And the third way we can represent red, this red, is with RGB 255,0,0. And over the right-hand side, you can see how that would actually be written in a CSS document. RGB, open brackets, 255,0,0, close brackets. Or you could use percentages and say RGB, open brackets, 100%, 0%, 0%, close brackets. And remember that 255 is the maximum amount of that particular channel, which in this case is red. So that's why we've got 100% in that second example down there, because red is at 100%. Okay, that's red. But what other colors can we call by name? Well, to give you an idea, here's a list of some of them. But that isn't a comprehensive list. If you want a comprehensive list, I suggest you go over to w3schools.com and do a search there for color names. You'll find this page, which lists the color names supported by all browsers. And you can see we've got the color name, the hex code, an indicator of what the color looks like, and then you can also click on links to find shades for colors as well. And there we go to the coral page. You've got the shades of coral here and the hex codes. Now quite clearly these names will represent a specific color tone. So purple will represent a specific tone of purple. And there are going to be a lot of different variations in purple, but the colors you're going to get by using these words will be web-safe colors. So where can you go to find out a little bit more about the colors and the hexadecimal codes for your colors? Well, there's a number of places online. We've already seen Color Code Hex, which is this site. Started out looking at and we clicked on this red FF0000. So you can come here and find out hex codes if you want to. Another site is over at w3schools.com, and this is one of my favorites. And we've got the colors, the main colors here, and we can click on those, and then we can get the hex codes for all the variations of that color as well. Now, one of the things that I use is called ColorPick, and it's a free tool for the PC. If you're using a Mac, I will include an alternative in one of the resource downloads with this course. But essentially what this tool does, you can see it here, I can load it up and I can grab any color on the screen. Let's suppose I wanted to grab the color of this title bar at the top. I can do so, and I've just grabbed it there, look, in this square over here. And by clicking on the squares that I've grabbed, I can get the hex code here for that particular color. So you click on a square, move your mouse around the screen to where you want to grab the color, and then on a PC it's Control G to grab it. And you see I've just grabbed it there and I've got the hex code. And this tool will also allow you to play around with colors by selecting them in this grid here, and you'll see that as I'm selecting them, the hex code actually changes. So you can find the hex code of any color. Now if you're experimenting in LiveWeave, you actually find that some colors are named here. We have the ones that we haven't actually looked at in our list earlier. But let's just change the color of this. You can see I've typed color colon. And you can see it's come up with a list now of all the different colors that I can choose. Some dark grey. And there it has inserted the code directly for me. So that's how we specify colors with CSS. And the version that I use is the hexadecimal always. So I suggest you stick with that.